it's Becky here. So welcome to another new video on my YouTube channel. And today I'm taking you all to a suburban area of Greater Vancouver called Pitt Meadows. Here we are getting off the highway and going into this suburban city called Pitt Meadows. And this area is just right by the Fraser River. It's kind of like a little village, town center. And these buildings are so lovely. And I assume these buildings are about 15 years old. And they're built in kind of old-fashioned style. Yeah, very appealing. And it's a very quiet little neighborhood. And here is a nice community center and a little art gallery. Let's check it out. It's my first time visiting Pitt Meadows. Yeah, so I got a new haircut. Every spring I like to get a new haircut to start regrowing my hair again. Here's the nice spacious space of the community center, and here I'm going into the art gallery. They have these lovely handcrafted items and ceramics, glass and cushions. Yeah, so these are the paintings and fabric work done by two artists. It's called From a Distance. And now we are strolling by the Riverside. Here we're looking at Fraser River and that Golden Ear Bridge. There are a lot of nice little townhouses looking at the river. And this piece of land was inhabited by one of the Aboriginal tribes of Canada. Yeah, so after strolling around the riverside, I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee and a quick bite at that cafe. Sketching my food and drink as usual. Yeah, so including food and drink in my cafe sketches is always fun and is a great element for the context of the cafe sketch. Here is a look of my finished sketches of the Spanish Latte and lunch wrap. And my coffee is still warm. It's bright and sunny now. I'm gonna sketch the two ladies sitting outside the window, starting to draw the shape of the hair of the lady sitting on the left, the ear, and sunglasses. Tracing out the shape of the nose, the upper lip, the lower lip, finishing off the shape of her short hair, drawing the neck and the collar of her shirt, and then the back of the chair. Now I'm drawing the curve of her back seen through the chair, her upper arm, yet the wrinkle of her sleeve around the elbow area, and her hand holding her warm cup of coffee. Now I'm starting to add these stripes for her shirt. And these stripes, as you can see, they are curving following the cylinder shape of the arm. Now adding a smile and a wrinkle and more stripes for the back of the shirt. Yeah, so the torso is a larger cylinder than the arms, and so the stripes are also curving, not flat lines. Now I'm gonna draw her friend with longer hair, just very much like a back view, where I could barely see her face. Drawing the back of the neck, shoulders, and a bit of the hand holding her cup of tea or coffee, steaming hot. And it's not too cold to sit outside anymore here in Vancouver now, in March. Yeah, I just drew the collar of her shirt, suggesting the texture of the hair. And she had nice tattoos on her back. Now, I'm using pencil to roughly lay out the landscape in front of the ladies. Now, I just identified a foreground element, which is the lamp post, standing nice and tall. So just drawing that. I think in the summertime, they're going to have flower baskets hanging on top of the lamp post. Now, I'm drawing loosely of the ramp and the curb, so the lamp post is landing on the sidewalk. Now, I see a lady walking past by, walking her dog. So I'm going to do that very spontaneously. Starting to draw her hair tied up into a bun, the hood of her jacket, one arm holding onto the leash, and the little dog walking behind her. I had to use my short-term memory to get it done because she just disappeared after 5 seconds. Yeah, so it took me about 40 seconds to draw the lady with her dog. Now I'm starting to draw these wooden columns of the fence and seeing segments of horizontal wooden bars. And yeah, so for this direction, the lines are slanting upwards towards the right. And the segments of fences, they look smaller compared to the one closer up. Yeah, so the fence has like a 3D structure of rectangular prism. Now I'm adding on this row of bushes behind the lamppost. The bottom is very shaded, containing a lot of branches. Using these quick squiggly lines to suggest the leafy texture. Now I'm starting to draw the first tree. This is the first major branch, the second major branch. And I'm merging these major branches together into the trunk. Or I could draw the tree in a different way. I could start with the trunk and then split it into several major branches that I see. Yeah, so the same drawing techniques is the same for drawing the other trees. I could either start drawing the trunk first or the branches merging together into a trunk. Yeah, so this row of trees, they are very much the same species of maple trees. These trees are very similar, but they are unique from one another. Drawing another shrub and one more tree behind it. And for these furry twigs, you could just use single lines and much more gentle hand pressure to swipe them out from the major branches to form the skeleton of the tree's canopy. Yeah, and adding one more fluffy pile of shrubs and the texture. And there are lots of trees lining along the walkway of the Riverside, and this one is a little bit more far away, looking slightly smaller. Yeah, and this tree is even more far away, and I'm using more gentle pressured, faint lines to suggest that they are indeed more far away, not coming too forward to compete for attention. And those furry trees on the other side of the river. Final bit of drawing, just adding a bit more twigs and those furry foliage on the other side of the river. Adding a bit of accentuations for the bottom of the sidewalk. Here's the look of my finished line drawing. And the ladies, they are still there, but I think they're leaving. Okay, now it's time to have fun painting watercolors. I really want to paint the soft, gentle atmosphere of this early spring day, just wetting the sky area with clear water, and then punching on some very diluted yellow ochre for the warmth of the sun pushing behind the clouds. And then using some very diluted cerulean blue to paint the gaps of sky between the clouds. And on cloudy days, the tone of the blue in the sky is usually pretty gentle. And yeah, so we're getting a lot of rainy days this March in 2025, and it's very rare to have sunshine this year, early in the spring. Now, using a bit of cobalt blue mixed with permanent violet to paint the cloud touching the horizon. As you can see, the clouds closer to the horizon, they're laying very flat visually. And then higher up in the sky, the clouds are looking more dynamic and thicker. And it's only a visual illusion. The clouds closer to the horizon, they look thinner and smaller because they're very far away, being foreshortened. Now, I'm just kind of underpainting the ground area with diluted yellow ochre. And then on top of the underpainting is this warm yellow green, which is cadmium yellow mixed with yellow green. And then painting these bushes with viridian green and a little bit of yellow ochre mixed in there. Yeah, so in general, bushes, they have a darker tone of green compared to grass. But grass is also a little bit shaded with a darker tone of green partially. Yeah, and the shading green on bushes is even darker, which is burnt sienna mixed into viridian green, leaving the top edges of these bushes shiny bright of the first layer of green untouched. And painting this very special bush with red-brown and shaded the bottom part with like a heavier red-purple. And it kind of echoes with my wrap. Now, adding a bit of slightly stronger cerulean blue for some of the sky areas, looking a little bit deeper in cerulean blue. And from my experience, the higher part of the sky, visually, is closer to us in reality, and it usually has like a darker tone compared to the lower part of the sky. Now, first layer for these trees is the mix of olive brown and a little bit of olive green. And for some heavier brown areas, I'm punching on some Van Dyke brown or raw umber to wet into wet blend with the olive brown and olive green. Playing with water control as well. As you can see, the Van Dyke brown I'm adding on top is less watery compared to the olive green and olive brown mix. Yeah, so in this way, our trees could look more dynamic with color variation as well as tonal variation. And as you can see, these trees, they have like a warmer brown tone in general compared to the sky and the foliage, which is a nice contrast in color temperature. Warm tones versus cold tones. Yeah, and using this leftover orange brown and red brown to suggest those faraway trees on the other side of the river. Using blue violet to shade those faraway trees to suggest a sense of distance. things far away, they could have like a blue-violet kind of tone. So now the sky area is dried. I'm using my Sailor's Fude fountain pen to just use these mostly single lines to add more twigs. Because I see in between those large branches is a little blank. So yeah, just adding these twigs to add more happy, cheerful gesture for these trees dancing in the spring air. And just grabbing some leftover brownish gray to paint the sidewalk. And for skin color, I just mix orange with permanent red and dilute it with a lot of water to get this skin tone. Yeah, so I'm just painting the ladies using my short-term memory. I remember they were wearing grays. So yeah, just using blue and violet kind of grays to paint their outfits. And painting the fence with leftover brown, like mostly Van Dyke brown, in 2 tones. Starting with a lighter tone and shade partially on the fence wooden planks with like a darker tone. So when tree canopies are blank of leaves, they're not absolutely blank. I can see the canopies are still lightly glowing with those leftover tissues or germinating flowers and leaves glowing on the canopies. So I just used leftover orange-brown in a very diluted version to paint lightly over those tree canopy areas. Now I'm using Van Dyke brown mixed with a little bit of permanent violet to paint the street. The street and the sidewalks may be looking gray, but in the real world there could be many types of grays. Same for gray and white hair. It could be like a muted brown. And shade her shirt with a slightly stronger tone of blue-violet. Now, these faces, especially the cheek areas, need to have like a stronger tone of red-brown. And for the neck area as well, containing a lot of blood vessels. So the human face is not too pale. Okay, now it's time to shade their hair. So white hair may not be absolutely paper white. It could still be shaded a little bit on the bottom to suggest volume of the hair with like a very muted brown. And this lady sitting on the right, I think she's a little younger. Yeah, so just using more concentrated Van Dyke brown to paint her hair with a bit of value transition as well. Using leftover blue-violet to paint the stripes on this lady's shirt. Yeah, I love painting shirts and sweaters with stripes. Using leftover blue to paint this passerby's jacket, pants. And shade the curb, the thickness of the sidewalk using leftover dark brown. And suggesting shadows from the bushes landing on the sidewalk. A little bit of heavier green to push for a bit of higher contrast. Shadows. Using blue-violet as a lively type of gray to paint the lamppost, leaving the right edge to shine, facing the light source. And here's the look of my finished on-location sketch at Pitt Meadows, my first time here, and I'll come back in autumn to sketch the leaves. And it's time to go home. And I just love this little community. And of course, I'll definitely come back for more sketches of these little buildings. Now we are on Golden Ears Bridge looking at the village on the bottom right. Okay, and it's getting very cloudy again. Anyway, better weather is on the way for Vancouver. And I will see you again in the next tutorial video very soon, everyone. Have a great day and enjoy the spring air. Bye.